Well, you can see what I'm dealing with here, and I am excited to go on some trips this winter. Well, it's exciting to fish a new lake, but it can be overwhelming. Well, let me tell you a story of why and how doing research before a trip changed the way I approach every new body of water that I go to. When I did television from 2000 to 2005 for the Outdoor Channel, they asked me to fish for them in the Central Pro-Am circuit in the Ozarks. I was terrified to do so. Here I was, a TV show host that was now going to step up against some of the best in the area and even the nation and try not to look like I was totally clueless. The program director at that time called and told me all of this. He then asked me to fish the last event of the year on Grand Lake of the Cherokees. I had never even seen that lake before, and I was so nervous to go. So I did the only thing a person could do who had no budget and no experience on that water. I scoured every article in a magazine or a newspaper I could find about fishing on Grand Lake. I soon learned that fishing Grand in August is extremely hot as far as temperature, but can be pretty good. There often is a good shallow bite even with the sky-high temps. I also learned that white lures fished shallow along edges of about anything could generate some bites. Well, even with that basic knowledge and an idea of what to possibly look for, I was still super nervous. Look at this photo of me in the hotel room before the first morning of the event. Oh my gosh, does that look like someone who has any confidence at all? Well, fast forward to the event. I fished a white 4S square bill around boat docks and these huge floating tire mats that are used as brakes for the boat wakes. And you can see here, I didn't do too bad, 38th out of 122 boats. And here I am weighing in. I look a little less sick. Well, from that point forward, research became a huge part of what I do. I had collected a massive physical database of articles ripped from magazines and organized them by lake. I had binders all over the place. And as I traveled the country, I would access my research to get a basic clue of what may or may not be happening that time of year, and even what type of fishery I could expect. Was it a place with lots of grass? Was it all wood or all rock or who knows what? Well, it helped a lot. I mentioned a few videos ago that I am heading to Jordan Lake in North Carolina in mid-January. I have never fished it. I drove by it once and got out and looked around, but this will be the first time I wet a line there. Well, of course, research in this day and age is so much easier than it was 20 plus years ago. But let's get an idea of what successful tournament patterns look like in the winter from Jordan Lake. Now, this data is collected from pro events where anglers record a top 10 finish. This data is actually taken from live coverage and observed fish catches, so it should give us an idea of how I may want to pack for my trip. Here we can see I'm researching tournament patterns for the winter, and by looking at the map of Jordan Lake for the research collected, by far the most success has come from the mid and lower lake areas. Now, I'm sure cold, dirtier water in the upper end pushed a lot of anglers down here. And when we click on an area, we can see on this one there are 17 reported patterns for this spot, 1 for clear water, 15 for stained water, and 1 for dirty water. This in itself tells me a lot about the most likely water clarity I will encounter. And as one would expect, many of the reported patterns from the database show lures and presentations that are getting some depth. Look at all the deep diving crankbait patterns listed here. I can also get a quick sense that hard structure is going to be something I need to look for, and likely offshore. Of course, this is only a starting point, and conditions could be very unseasonable when I'm there, and that could change everything. Well, we will soon find out. And thank you to the Deep Dive app for sponsoring this video. You can check them out on the Google Play Store, the Apple Store, or follow the link down below. And hey, if you would like to watch a video that talks about 2 key skills to work on that really transformed my fishing forever, go ahead and check this one out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.